I know it sounds bad, but I didn't cry when she died, or at the funeral, or even at the reception. It wasn't until a few days later, when I went into our pantry and saw row upon row of glass jars, all still tightly sealed, that I truly broke down. The shelves were full of an assortment of pickled things. She loved pickles, and once she learned how easy it was to pickle things for herself, there was no stopping her. She pickled everything and anything she could get her hands on. The evidence of that was laid before me in various sized jars. Eggs, asparagus, celery, apples, peaches, pork, onions, carrots. It seemed to be endless. Our neighbor Bill had once given her grief about it when he saw her unloading comically large glass jars from her car. My wife being her usual self, she got him to change his tune when she showed him how easy pickling was. At least, I think his tune changed. He didn't really talk to us too much after that, but his husband left him around the same time, so maybe he was dealing with that. It was sudden. No note on the counter, bags packed and gone. He received a jar of pickles from my wife. I think she was determined to get the whole block into pickling. It brought her so much joy, she just wanted to spread it. And you know what? After that little girl went missing, the neighborhood could have used a little pickling cheer. That's the kind of person my wife was. Happy and bubbly. When Mrs. Johnston came by to see if we'd seen her cat, my wife sent her home with a bit of pickled pumpkin and her deepest sympathies. Strange woman, Evelyn Johnston, but sad. Grief does strange things to people. She'd lost her husband a few years earlier to a tragic accident, around the same time my wife's pickling craze started. It was a brutal mess, and they never even recovered all of him. Losing her cat must have pushed her over the edge. Derek from a few doors down said he had seen her burying a jar that looked like one of ours in her yard, and talking to herself the entire time. It would have been nice to have another person who knows what it's like to lose your significant other around to talk to, but she stepped into traffic not long after. I was learning what grief could do. I had a pantry full of pickles, and I don't even like pickles, or pickled anything, really. My wife tried to get me to like them. She tried so hard. Different pickled things, different additives for flavor. No combination ever seemed to work for my taste. And yet, this pickle pantry was somehow beautiful to me. Maybe I would keep it as a pickle memorial. Was that such a thing, or was it the first of its kind? Maybe I'd put her ashes in a pickle jar. She'd have liked that. She did succeed in teaching me how to pickle, bless her heart. I had to admit, the process was fun. I could see why she liked it, beyond having an endless supply of her favorite treat. There was something so satisfying about the whole process, especially when the jars popped after they sealed. That was the worst thing about being on death row, she'd told me once. She couldn't pickle anymore. Maybe I would continue my wife's tradition. Take a jar of pickles to those in the neighborhood needing something good. Slowly empty out the large space, one jar at a time. It would make my home a little emptier, but perhaps it would make their lives a little fuller. Pumpkin wasn't the first nor the last cat to go missing, after all.